Hey, this is Paul from the Coda community and hopefully your favorite legendary Coda maker. And today I'm gonna tell you all about the coolest pack I built for the contest that Coda was running recently. I built an Edit Images pack, the pack that allows you to adjust images, apply effects, and combine them together to make YouTube previews, like the one on this video. It was created by my pack, actually. Instagram posts, whatever visuals you may have for your blog posts, articles, ads, whatever. It may help you generate these right in Coda, free of charge. Yeah, I will continue developing this pack later. Now I have it created for the Packathon, and it is pretty darn cool and pretty darn powerful. Yeah, keep forgetting the words. It's late in the evening already. So as I'm gonna talk about this pack, let's first talk about the Packathon. So Coda was running a Packathon in July. Yeah, June, July. And there were, we could win some monetary prizes. I really hope that I did something revolutionary here, and I'm gonna compete for the first prize, obviously, so that's my hope. But they are also running a separate prize for the community, the most voted dog on the community, for the most supported dog. And of course, people are, well, asking their fan bases and their followers to support their creations. And I'm not gonna do anything else. I am currently in the 6th place, so my pack is currently in the 6th place. You can find, I will leave the link for the community voting doc in the description of this video below. Please, if you like what I show you in the next video, go here and give it an upvote. I will be very, very thankful for this. So yeah, it deserves to be higher than on the 6th place. And by all means, I totally encourage you to check out all the submissions and upvote everything you like. But please upvote mine as well. Okay, without further ado, let's spin up the sample doc and install the sync tables for it's a spoiler alert, another pack in the making, and actually it's already out. I just need to finish some glossing around that other pack, and I'll make a very big announcement about that as well. But as far edit images, it's in the gallery. It can be found through the / command. If not, you can find, again, I'll leave the link in the description below. It's actually currently trending. So if you go to coda.io and go to the gallery and to the packs, you will see it currently in the 1st place trending, because people are very keen on checking it out, what it can do. And let's get it to the dock. It's quite a big pack. It has quite a few functions already, as you can see in the list to the right. And it's gonna be even bigger, because there's a few things that still have to be added to this pack. I'll try to get them out by the end of this month, which is August 2022. So I'll try to get this pack completely finished by the end of this month. So, and before we start experimenting with this pack, before I start showing you what it does, just a very short explanation of how all this magic is even possible. Let's okay, take the water out of the view. Let's make a table, and let's say it's an image upload, or actually just image. It's our handle. It's gonna be our one row table, and let's create an image column. That's the one where we will upload an image. We can upload an image. We can choose from Unsplash. Unsplash has very nice images in its database, so no need for upload anything. Just let's show for beautiful nature. Just any picture that, well, this one looks nice, right? So what happens when you upload an image to Coda? You may know this already, or you may not know. it actually is, well, it's uploaded to the codehosted.io domain, but it's served through a service called Imgix. Imgix, so whenever you open an image, or, well, whatever you see in Coda is actually loaded from the Imgix server. So what it does, it basically takes the URL at codehosted.io and it serves the image through its own servers. It applies the optimizations, like it serves it in the best format that's guessed for this browser. It's compressed automatically to save you the bandwidth, and also some other optimizations that it runs on the image. But turns out Imgix can do much more than that. So if you go to imgix.com and you look at their, basically it's enough to just look at their landing page and see how you add parameters to the image URL, and you can already alter what the image will look like. So you can crop, you can overlay different stuff on the image, put the logo on, put the marketing assets onto the existing image, resize it through adding parameters to the URL. So in a way, you can take this image and you can add a parameter width, make it 200 pixels, and you get a new image, a transformed image out of that image. Or you may say, well, blend color and make it blue, and it's now recolored in hard blue color. So see how this works. You don't even need a pack for that. You could just take an URL of an image, add all the parameters, and get an entirely new image. So I created a pack that leverages all these things that Imgix can do. And what the pack does, basically, it takes the URL of an uploaded image, applies all these URL parameters, returns you the new URL that Coda processes, and then shows you an entirely new image, an updated and adjusted image. And again, as I said, this didn't need to be a pack, but the pack just gives you all that convenience of grouping the parameters together, having the documentation in place. Actually, each method is very well documented. It tells you how to use it. I also transformed some APIs to make them more logical for use in Coda, because what Imgix exposes, it's more accessible for webmasters. And what I exposed through my pack, it's more useful, well, in the context of Coda formula language. So yeah, without further ado, on the 8th minute of this showcase, let's start. You can take an image, so let's take our image and take the image column and see how the image column, the upload columns are always lists. So they allow multiple images to be uploaded to them. So the best practice here, you can actually just use it like this. So adjust brightness, minus 100, I don't know, minus 50. And you can use it like this, but you will have Coda complain that it's not an image, it's a list of images. So it's best to actually take the first image out of the list, just so to shut Coda up so that it doesn't complain. Or even better, if you're using an upload column, just make like an image upload or uploads and already prepare the column that says uploads first, and it's going to be your image column that you can then reference. So image, let's call it not an image, let's call it a sample, so that sample image, adjust brightness minus 50. And let's actually do this. Let's hide that. Let's make it wide. Let's put the image to the right, and let's increase the zoom for the sake of this demo. And also hide what we don't want to see. So yeah. Right, time to actually, the demo. The first thing is the adjust formula, and it's for applying all these adjustments that you can do in your favorite photo editors. So you can adjust brightness, contrast, saturation, vibrance, shift the hue, change the exposure, gamma, highlights, and shadows. And the best way, of course, you can just type in like minus 50, 20, 30, 40, and so on. But the best way to do this so that you don't get confused in the parameters is to actually use the named parameters and only apply changes that you want to actually change. So brightness plus 20. And the ranges are from minus 100 to plus 100 for brightness, contrast, saturation, and vibrance. For hue, let's ignore contrast, let's ignore saturation. Let's shift the hue, and the hue is changed on a color wheel. It has 360 degrees, so the change goes from minus 360 to plus 360. 360 is the full spin, which means no color is changed. 180 basically will invert the image, so change all the hues to the opposite ones. 90 will change the hues, or no, you can use minus 90 will go the other way on the hue wheel. Exposure will simulate the camera exposure effect, the time that it takes to open the shutter. The shutter is open, so it's somewhat similar to brightness, but applies the effect differently. Gamma, highlights, shadows, it's all about color correction, the brightness correction on a photo. If you do things like saturation minus 100, you will end up with a black and white image. So yeah, these are the parameters that you can play with. Actually, if you go to there is the Coda Tricks Edit Images playground doc. You can take an image and play around with all the parameters in a playground doc. So you can tweak these. There is a beautiful, gorgeous playground doc. Again, it's another category on the Packathon, the best demo doc. I'm going to compete for that as well. So you can play around with these parameters and see how they change the image. So this is something that you can play with. Okay, back to what else we've got in our pack. So we have the adjust, then we have also just the grayscale, which will just return the image to grayscale. And of course, you can first adjust, change the brightness to minus 10, and then turn this to grayscale. So it doesn't matter. You can totally add more modifications on top of previous modifications on top of previous modifications. You can chain calls together to get your final picture. So what else? We have a few sharpening mechanisms. So there is a sharpen, and the amount goes from 0 to 100, and it tells this all in the documentation of what you can apply. So let's sharpen this image in the maximum way possible. You can see how sharp it gets. And there is an Unsharp Mask. It's a different algorithm for applying the sharpening. It inverts the image and then overlays it on the existing image. So again, let's put this to the max. It may look, a bit differently. So let's apply it to the half, and you have more control also on the radius of the blur, how you apply that on your image. So 1 may not really have any effect. 2 has a more visible effect, and so on. So play with the parameters as well. There is also the denoise algorithm. If your image has a lot of noise, you can apply a denoising algorithm. It will try to smoothen those noisy areas of an image out. Now, well, the effects. Effects are perhaps the most fun. Oh no, before I go to effects, there's also the automatic enhance method that will just make the image more vibrant. Like there's an AI behind objects that will try to apply some nicer parameters. So with enhancement, it looks like this. Without enhancement, it looks a little bit more pale. So again, you can go to the playground dock and see how this image looks enhanced and not. Yeah, if only it loaded faster. My internet is not really the best these days. And there is also a method for red eye removal. We don't have anyone with red eyes here on this picture, but just so that you know, it's there. Okay, effects. So grayscale, we already seen. There's the old photo effect, sepia effect, and again, you can apply different intensity from 0 to 100. And you can see this in the playground dock, sepia effect. No effect looks like normal photo. Half the effect looks like a blend of a burned out photo, but some of the colors still they still shine through, and the 100 sepia looks totally like a yellowish, brownish picture. Invert, yeah, makes an inverted picture. It could be useful for logos. If you have a white logo on transparent background, it will create a black logo on a transparent background and vice versa. So that's where it can go in handy. Then there's also halftone effect, which makes it like an old postcard view. It has all these dots, and you can control the dot. So halftone and the size of the dot, let's say it's 8. Old printer view. Sometimes you may appreciate this effect when creating some visuals for your YouTube or your Instagram. Yeah, smaller dot size. I think Coda once had banners for their sample docs or for the videos that used this halftoning effect. Bigger dots will not look as nice. They will just look like a mess. So experiment with lower colors, with smaller colors. What else? Posterize effect tries to limit the number of colors in the picture, so you can limit it to just 2 colors, and it will take the 2 most prominent colors and try to redraw the picture in this effect of this artistic effect of just having 2 colors, just having 3 colors. Again, experiment with lower color values to have that comic-like effect or manga-like effect. Looks very nice on portraits, on photos of people, gives that interesting vibe to them. 6 colors. So the more colors, yeah, this looks pretty neat. Something that, again, you can use for a banner, for a blog post. If you start getting the color numbers too high, you will see a different effect. You will see banding. The colors will not blend. You will see like these mixtures of colors. It's a different thing. I don't know, but maybe you want to use this in some visuals. Why not? Then we have the pixelate and blur. So blur is obvious. You apply the Gaussian blur. Say the radius is 5 pixels. It's a negligible blur, 50 pixels. It's a harder blur, 200 pixels. Everything is very blurry. Then pixelate effect. You can apply a pixelation effect. So the pack tries to figure out the borders of, the pack the pack tries to detect edges of things so that you don't have blurry pixels on the edges. But yeah, it basically applies the censoring mechanism, or well, turns this into pixels of a given size. So again, you can give it a larger pixel size and get an image like that. You can apply blur on this afterwards. Oh no, it does not work like that. It only uses one parameter perhaps. Okay, so these are the effects, some of the effects. And there's also some recoloring effects that you can apply. You can apply the monochrome, duotone, and then color blend effects. And again, it's better to display this through a playground dock. So a monochrome just recolors the image, so the image gets turned to grayscale, and then it gets recolored in shades from white to black that go through a color of your selection. And you can either choose a color, a CSS color, a named color that is used in web colors, or you can specify, so let's call it, let's use monochrome. You can specify an RGB, so let's say F00 for a red recolor. You can do the 6-digit RGB, so FF00 for yellow recolor. You can use the alpha to control the strength of the color. So 80 FF00 will only apply like half of the effect. It's gonna be midway between the original colors and the yellow colors. It actually doesn't matter. You can include the pound symbol or not include the pound symbol before the color. Doesn't matter for the pack. So yeah, this is how alpha works. By default, it's completely opaque. And well, if you go with completely transparent, this effect will have no, well, there will be no effect on the original image. Duotone, and yeah, and then there are the colors like blue, no, gray. As we are talking, there is an error rate siren going off, so sorry for being distracted a bit. The list of colors, the list of named colors that you can use, you can actually import it from the pack. There is a few handy tables that you can use. One of them is colors, and you start the sync. You select the palette. Right now, the only palette that you can have is the CSS named colors palette. I will add eventually more palettes here, the material design palette, the palette of Coda colors, but these are the CSS named colors, the web safe colors. They are sorted by hue for your convenience, so they are not sorted by name or whatever, they are sorted by color. And basically, you can just reference one of those rows, and it will automatically apply that color to your recolor. So these are the colors that you can use, or you can use their hex values and, well, whatnot. So yes, this is the monochrome effect. And then there is the duotone effect. You may have seen it in many Instagram posts. It applies two colors. So it turns the image into shades of gray, the monochrome image. And then it applies a gradient between a color that you select as the light color and the color that you select as the dark color. So white becomes, let's say, cyan, black becomes, I don't know, violet, and everything in between becomes the blend between those two colors. So let's apply a duotone. Again, you can use RGB or you can use either RGB or named colors, no alpha this time. There is a common opacity parameter for the whole formula. So let's say the light colors should be cyan, or maybe not cyan but some light blue, and darker areas should be let's say red, some, or dark golden. And here you can see that the darker areas, they became of that dark color. Let's use something, well, royal blue. Let's use, I don't know, yellow, light, something light, golden rod yellow. So white became light goldenrod yellow, or oh, something more prominent. So let's actually light coral, yeah, and dark blue. So yes, white became light coral, this color in the white areas, and dark blue became the color of the black areas. And you can optionally set the mix, like half the mix between the original image and the overlay, maybe 80%. You can control, yeah, the strength of the effect and let some colors shine through, some original colors shine through. So this is an effect you can use to recolor. You can create, like here in the Edit Images playground, this black and white, this thing is recolored with a duotone effect. If you go into the, maybe let's go and edit the doc and I'll show you what I mean. You can create an asset like this. Yeah, just the black and white image. And then you apply duotone effect to get a background that's colored. So one color gets applied to the black side, one color gets applied to the white side, and you have your total variability of which colors are used, or how to color your thumbnail for YouTube, for example. So this you can do with a duotone effect. And also there is a plenty of color blending effects. Where is the, well, yeah, the Edit Images pack. There is plenty of color blending modes, and eventually there's going to be an image blend mode. Right now it's just, you select the color, you select the opacity, and then there are multiple modes, just like you see them again in Photoshop, in GIMP, I mean, and other photo editing tools. So there are different effects with different math behind them. So some darkening effects, lightening effects, just the multiplication effect. It makes the picture darker, so effectively multiplies two colors together. So there is different math behind this, and you can also, there is the handy table of, let's move these out of the way. There is a handy table of blend modes that you can sync so that you don't have to remember them all. Let's select the cyan color. In blend mode, actually it has some auto complete. So if you start typing multiply, it should suggest you the modes, but in case it doesn't, you can select one from the table. What is wrong? Oh yeah, the opacity is a mandatory parameter, so you have to specify it. Which in retrospect shouldn't be, so I should probably make it an optional one, not a mandatory one. That's an honest mistake, I guess. Okay, that's all for the blending. Next up, adding text to your image. Adding text to an image, there's two methods to do that. Let's remove the blending modes. There's two methods to do that. There is a single line caption, and there is a way to generate an image with the text on it, like a standalone image that you can then put on top of your image. And it can be a multi-line text. Let's start with single line text. So set text overlay. There's one limitation with this, and yeah, it has plenty of parameters. There's one limitation with this, is that there can only be one text overlay, just like one color blend, one text overlay for an image. So if you try to set a text overlay, yeah, there it is in the top left corner. If you try to set another text overlay, on this image, this will crash with an error. The image already has a text overlay. You cannot add multiple overlays with this. So this is the limitation that comes out strictly, well, directly from the Imgix API, because there can only be one set of parameters with a given name in the URL. That's why trying to add another text will not, well, you cannot add another set of the same text, text width, text font, and so on, parameters to the same URL. There, you have to do it differently. Maybe one day I make a seamless way to actually do this so that it looks nice in Coda and it works some magic under the hood so that you don't even know about this limitation. But so far, this is the limitation of this pack. So yeah, the first parameter is text. Hello, subscribers, because I like you all. And you can select a font. And there is a selection of fonts. By default, you can select serif, sans serif, monospace, like bold, italic. You can select like serif, bold. Actually, Coda editor will prevent you from just setting enter, so you have to move your mouse and click elsewhere so that it's properly stored. Font size, let's make it large, like 80 pixels large. And there it is. And to select a font, there is a large selection, 350 something fonts that you can select from. Well, fonts and type spaces. So you don't have to remember them all. Instead, you should just take the pack and sync the table of fonts. And it will load all fonts that you can select in this pack. I'm trying, yeah, to move it here. And here they are with their names and even the specimens that you can all see right away how that font looks like. So there's quite a few Avenires. There's some Comic Sans for your memes about a Shiba Inu, and there's also the London Underground or Transport for London font, lots of Helveticas for your common needs, Monaco for your text needs, Papyrus to go along with Sans because they are brothers, Papyrus and Sans, and well, your Clarendon, Homa Times New Roman, Times New, and all sorts of times. And you even have, Impact as well for all your generic meme needs. So yeah, lots of fonts, and you can simply select a, let's say, Impact as a row, and it will render in that font. And of course, you can set color. Cannot see what it types. Need to scroll this a bit. Color, and you can use the names, you can use the table. You can set outline width 2 pixels, outline color black. This will look like this. There's one thing with the outline though, it does not strictly draw outside of text. So if you make the width too big, like 10 pixels, it will, well, mess up the text itself. So this is one not a very nice thing. I will talk to ImGix support, ask them to add this control, to add a way to make the outline outside of text and not on the contour of the text. So, and yeah, there's plenty of other things you can change, and namely another thing that is important to know about is vertical position and horizontal position. So vertical position can have a text value of top, middle, and bottom, but also can have a specific value, and just make sure that the Coda formula language doesn't replace it with anything. A specific value of pixels, so pixels from the top, pixels from the left. Vertical position 400, horizontal position, and you can, if I remember correctly, you can also set the percentage, or maybe it's a different method where this is supported. No, it's a different method where this is supported. So either the absolute number of pixels or something like middle and horizontal, and horizontal position something like center. This is how you get text centered in an image. So that is single text overlay. If you make a very, very long text, or a very, let's select a, maybe there is a white font or just a regular Helvetica, and we make it a big one. It gets clipped off. You can control that behavior as well. So constraint behavior is either fit, ellipse size, clip start, ellipse size, so you can add an ellipsis in the middle, in the end. Or you can also fit, which means make the text smaller, but make it fit. So this is the single line controls for the text. Then the multi-line controls. The multi-line controls is a different thing. You cannot really add this to an image directly. Instead, you create a new overlay with the use of create, or actually make text block. And here you have the similar set of parameters, the text, width, height. So let's just copy these parameters already from here. Need to make this smaller because otherwise this simply doesn't fit in my window. There is no constraint behavior. Instead, the text block, by default, it has some width, and the default width is 200 pixels. Let's say it's 1000 pixels. And the color is black. And it becomes an image on its own. And if a line of text doesn't fit on one line, it creates a new line, and the height expands of this overlay. There is a few things that you can do. You can increase the space between lines. You can increase the space between characters. So there are methods to actually, let's add it here. Forgot the comma. To add more space between characters. Tracking or leading adds more space between lines. And you can also constrain the height and do, like, it will cut the text off. So if the text is too long, it will cut the remaining lines off. Now, how do you apply this onto the image? there is one formula. It's currently experimental because I'm going to work a little bit more on it. The formula is called composition, and that's the final part of our demo. The composition allows you to create layers on top, an image on top of an image on top of an image. It uses some hacks underneath to make this work. So currently the limitation is about 5 uploaded images. So you can have a base image, then a logo on it, then a text layer, then another text layer perhaps, and maybe something else, and that's it. Otherwise it will run out of the length. So there is a length limit on the URL that has to be that can be constructed. Once it runs out of that limit, the image will stop loading. But you can download it, upload it as a one merged image, and keep adding more layers to it. So yeah, the composition, you have to set the base width and height. So which is one, let's say it's a full HD image, or let's say it's 800 by 600. And then you keep adding layers to it. So if you just want to place an image and not affect its size, so place at 1:1 pixel ratio, you can just reference the image. So sample image. So it creates a composition. And well, the image is a little bigger than 800 by 600. That's why it's cut off. But this is how you use it, well, without any modifications. And if you want to apply modifications, like move it at some coordinates, like shift them to some X, to some Y, change their width, height, fit to the outer image, you have to enclose it in a layer formula. And when you have it as a layer, you have an image, horizontal position, vertical position, rotation, so you can set rotation to like 45 degrees. It will be put to the composition with some, well, rotation. But yeah, you can force the width and height, or you can force the fit mode to fit. Can you though? Why didn't it work? Oh, clip crop max scale. So let's crop. It fit the image, but it cut off this. Let's try clip. Nothing changed really. Yeah, or did it? Or has it? Yes, we still need to set the width and height. So width 800, height 600. Yeah, now the image is completely fit into the bounding box. And now you can apply the text layer as well. So we have this layer, let's make it a named formula. So text overlay, you can reference it. In your composition. Or you can as well put it in a layer, give it a horizontal, vertical position, width, height, and so on. And you can make multiple overlays like this. So hello subscribers, let's add another text overlay, but in the bottom. So it's going to be layer. Well, the same text overlay, but vertical position is bottom. So there it is. Let's say it's text overlay 2. Text overlay 2. Hello subscribers, goodbye haters. So this is your composition. And you can, yeah, again, you can take another image, like a logo, upload a logo. And compose a logo on it. So another layer, logo image, horizontal position, right. Oh, well, it is too big, so constrain width to 200 pixels. Well, there you have it. And take the logo and invert it so that it's black. There. This is how you work with the Edit Images pack. And play around with the Playground doc. I'll leave the link in the description below. See how I'm already creating thumbnails for YouTube videos. These are, of course, some demo thumbnails, but I'm creating real thumbnails with this pack, and it actually made it more automated than it used to be before. Previously, I used to go into the designing tool and change the colors, do everything manually. If you are a company, you may appreciate and you do some visual ads, visual media for your posts, you will appreciate this pack because, well, you don't have to pay another service, another monthly subscription for this. Even if I make this paid eventually, once I add more value to it, it will cost something like maybe $2 a month or something for a maker in your workspace, $2 or $3 per month max at max. So yeah, this is the Edit Images pack. Once again, please upvote it in the community voting doc. The link is in the description below. Sorry, it's been a pretty long video, but I tried to talk in a deep detail about how to use it. Eventually, I'll make this doc better. I'll put some text guidance in this. But for now, thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me. And talk to you very, very soon about something very, very cool and something like really very, very cool. Cheers.